Cup of Nations. All of this, of course, as we build up to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Entlikani Africa Dzonga yamamkela kanongonoko wa ina wana namuntlha vito ra me ivusiwe wa kwaNgcobo. Now today, of course, it's the all-important Bafana Bafana squad announcement. Imidlalo embili ezobidlala eNingizimu Africa against Panama in international friendlies. And through our collaboration with the South African Football Association, we are joined by the man of the moment, Coach Hugo Broos, looking so dazzling this afternoon, Coach. That suit, that tie, but we need to have a moment for those shoes. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. Those shoes are stunning.
We are speaking about World Cup now from now on, so I think it's right to wear a suit and a tie.
I love that. I love that. Next to Coach is a man who says he's got guns. You'll let us know whether or not you can see them. It's the super journal, Mazola Mulife. Mazola, very interesting now to have the squad announcement, of course, ahead of these two very crucial international friendlies for Ningizimu Africa.
Yeah, thank you, Vusiwe. It's crunch time now, Coach. You know, it's been a long journey building up to this qualification, and to finally make it to such a crucial cup competition. Bafana Bafana haven't been there in over 20 years. It's monumental for the country, and I'm sure you'll lead us with pride.
Indeed, and we'll get into that World Cup discussion, just building into the World Cup. But Coach, I want to take a moment to just reflect, because we haven't had a conversation with you since the Africa Cup of Nations. Talk to me when you sit now and you look back at the journey traveled in this edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. What are your thoughts on just the overall performance of the team?
I think one word, disappointing. I was very disappointed after the tournament. We didn't achieve what we wanted, first of all. Secondly, our level of the games we played was not what we were used to. And there are several reasons, but I think the most important reason was that during all the camp and AFCON, I didn't feel what I call the Bafana Bafana DNA. So quality, mentality, discipline, it was not there. Why? Okay, I know why, and I don't want to go in details, but that was the fact. And I think that was certainly one of the most important reasons why we didn't achieve and we didn't perform what everyone expected.
And you speak of this Bafana Bafana DNA that you felt was lacking during the Africa Cup of Nations. Is that something you think you'll be able to get right ahead of the World Cup?
Yes. I'm 100% sure that it will be there when we go to World Cup, and it will be already there now for the friendlies. And that's why we changed some things also in the team. I think we need some new impulses, and that will certainly reinstall the Bafana Bafana DNA.
And Coach, you speak about reinstalling the Bafana Bafana DNA, and of course we're going to get to the point where we reveal the squad, the 23 players that will play these friendlies. Talk to me about when you look at the squad and the changes that are being made from what we saw in AFCON, from what we saw in your preliminary squad, to what you're going to reveal later on this afternoon. Are those changes influenced more by you trying to see which other players can put up their hands, or is it more because you felt there was a need to make those changes to get to that DNA you want?
Some of them to see, but others we know. And it's not because of, I call them to see if they are still good or what. I know that they are good. I know that they have the Bafana Bafana DNA. But also, and that is mainly the main reason, is preparing the World Cup. So we have now those two friendlies. We have still a friendly at the end of May. And then, yeah, it's the opening game against Mexico. So we don't have so much time anymore to make experiments or to try. No, we have to go for World Cup in June. And that's why some players, okay, I want to see if they are ready to be with us. But some others are new, and I hope that they will give us new impulses to the team.
It's going to be crunch time. Mazola, perhaps you can just take us through as we take a look at what it's going to be looking like for South Africa in terms of that group in the World Cup and in terms of those fixtures, just in terms of the thoughts you want to get from Coach on this.
Yeah, we obviously a repeat of the 2010 opener at Soccer City FNB Stadium. We're still waiting for that European qualification playoff. We'll find out in a couple of days, a couple of weeks actually. And I remember Coach Hugo, when he was in the US for the draw, he mentioned that depending on who slots in that fourth place for that group, the dynamics of the group changes drastically, especially maybe if it's a Denmark, for instance. It changes the complexion of the group altogether. And, you know, Coach has been getting hammered for what I felt was a realistic overview of what the group looks like. I mean, they are consistently at this level, tournament after tournament. Bafana haven't been there 2 decades, so we shouldn't have these unrealistic expectations about what Bafana can do. But of course, Coach Hugo Broos will confirm we're going there to compete regardless of what the group looks like.
Yes, I think the most important thing will be first the result against Mexico. So we can, if we don't lose against Mexico, then I think you make a big step, because now we know in this World Cup, a new formula, the third place can give you also second round.
Yeah.
So if you can play a draw, and I don't speak about winning against Mexico, but if we can play a draw, and then we have the other game against the European qualifier, and then we have the last game against South Korea, I think then there is, I will not say a big chance, but there is a chance that we are maybe third, and in the best cases, second. So there is a possibility, and we have to believe in it.
Indeed. I mean, hope is going to be the game changer come the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which will be live, of course, on the SABC. Coach, I want to then speak on these 2 international friendlies you've got coming up, because some football lovers are like, why Panama? Why are we playing Panama? But they don't realize that this is a nation that is actually ranked within the top 35 in the world, which is almost a whole 30 places ahead of South Africa in terms of ranking, because we're 60, they're 33. Let's speak to the selection of Panama for these international friendlies and what you want to get out of these 2 games.
Yeah, first of all, we were looking for an opponent, Middle American, because we play against Mexico. So we were looking for that. And then Panama came. And then I saw where they were ranked on the world list. So I was very happy, because we didn't only have an opponent that you compare a little bit to the way of playing style like Mexico, but we also had a very good opponent, number 33 in the world.
They will challenge you. They will challenge you, yeah.
So
with Panama now, Coach, going into this, you say it's going to be very competitive, a very good nation. Are you looking for victories, or are you focusing more on that performance and fine-tuning the DNA you spoke about earlier?
okay, the result is important. I don't want to play 2 games and have 2 big defeats. Not at all. But at the other side, it's not so important. For me, it's important to see how my team will play against that team. Because again, 2 months later, we play against Mexico in more difficult circumstances, because it's a home team in Azteca, 80,000 people who will be only supporters from Mexico. So it will be more difficult. But for me, it will be very important now to see how my team is playing against that kind of opponent. And if it's not really a success after those 2 games, we don't have to panic. I think we will learn a lot of those 2 games. And it will help us to be ready and to be more ready for the opening game against Mexico.
And they are playing for their places in the team, isn't it, Coach? Because in as much as you have a group that went to the AFCON, there are no guarantees, especially one being eliminated earlier than you had hoped. A lot of, there's a lot of tactical, decisions that you have to make about which players to take, and I'm sure they are aware of that.
I will tell them. I don't know if they are already aware of that, but I will tell them next Tuesday, when always the second day we have a meeting with the players, and we'll tell them that okay, this is not a camp. This is also a camp to prove yourself, if you are ready and if you are able and if you deserve to be with the team. Because again, we don't speak here about a little tournament. It is the most important, highest level tournament in football, World Cup. So you have to be ready. And if I see that people are not ready on quality level or on attitude, I will drop them. I will not, I'm not ready to have again the same experience what I have or what I had in AFCON. I was so disappointed to see my team. And I don't want to see that again. And I think everybody has to be aware that now it's serious. It's not a little game, a friendly game, no. We start next week the preparation for World Cup. And I will be very, very, I will ask from the players that the limit to prove them, or to prove themselves, if they are ready to be with Bafana Bafana and go to the World Cup.
And you speak about players trying to prove themselves. There was a lot of questions about certain players when you made that final announcement with Mazola and I for the Africa Cup of Nations, just around certain players, not seeing an Ekrem Reyners in that squad, not seeing a Thapelo Morena in that squad. Speak to me, Coach, about what then was your thinking coming into this preliminary squad that we saw you release, that you're now going to shrink down, just in terms of some of those players that the Bafana Bafana faithful were expecting almost to see?
Yeah, there are still players who are not there, and there is a question of injury. So I was very happy with the performance of Peterson. But yeah, he's injured. And Gezane is injured for the moment, and there is a risk that he will not be ready for World Cup. So he's an injury, a knee injury. Thapelo Morena is not there either, injured again. So that means that sometimes you want to have those players, but they are not available. So, but what I try to do now again, and I said it already a few minutes ago, is to reinstall that DNA that give us so good results, so good games, so good performances. And there are some players who come back. There are some new players, or better, old new players. They were with us.
The reintroduction.
Yeah, they were with us, but it's a long time ago. They were again with Bafana Bafana. So I recall them, and I hope again that they will give us what we need.
And before we take that ad break, you mentioned a Brandon Peterson, and I know all the Kaizer Chiefs fans watching at home will ask the question then, is this you almost saying, had Brandon not been injured at this moment, he was likely going to make this team for you?
I think if Brandon shouldn't be injured, he should have been with us, yes.
All right, well, there you have it. Coach Hugo Broos is speaking on the Bafana Bafana team that will take on Panama in 2 friendly encounters. The coach says there's nothing friendly about this. He is looking for results. He's looking for performance. There's 2 games on the 27th of March at 6:30 live on SABC3. Bese kuthi umdlalo rather owesibili nge-31 esigamachi at 7 p.m. You can catch that also live on SABC3. This is, of course, the road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. After the break, Coach Hugo Broos will reveal those 23 players that will wear the green and gold of Iningizimu Africa in these 2 encounters against Panama. Coach Hugo Broos about to reveal the 23 players that will don the green and gold of Iningizimu Africa out at these 2 international friendlies up against Panama. Coach, it's your moment. It's your time to shine.
I'll have to take those first.
The glasses first, okay.
The glasses first.
And the glasses match the suit.
Yes, and the paper.
And the paper.
Okay. So the 23 players for Panama are the goalkeepers Ronwen Williams, Ricardo Goss, and Renaldo Liener. Defenders, Koliso Mudal, Tabang Matuludi, and Consinati Sibisi, Aubrey Modiba, Kulumani Andamane, Ime Okon, Samukele Kabini, and Bekezeli Mbokazi. Midfield, Tebogo Mokoena, Jaden Adams, Talente Mbata, and Spehelo Sitole. Strikers, Oswin Apollis, Tsepang Moremi, Evidence Magopa, Lyle Foster, Bongokulu Longwane, Rele Bohile Mofokeng, Tembazwane, and Tapelo Maseko.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a confirmation of the Bafana Bafana final team for the World Cup preparation encounters that will be played against Panama on the 27th of March as well as the 31st of March. Let me just give you a confirmation of those players once again, starting from the goalkeepers, Ronwen Williams of Mamelodi Sundowns, Ricardo Goss of Siwelele FC, and Ronaldo Lina of Skukune United. Moving on into the defenders, we've got Kuliso Mudawu, Tabang Matuludi, Nkosinati Sibisi, Aubrey Modiba, Kulumane Ndamane, Ime Ogon Samgelo Kabini, as well as Mbegezeli Mbogazi. That's how South Africa's defensive players will be looking like. Moving on into the midfielders, we've got Debucho Mukwena of Mamelodi Sundowns, Jaden Adams of Mamelodi Sundowns, who makes his return to the Bafana Bafana fold, Talent Mbata of Orlando Pirates, and Pepelo Sitole of CD Tandela. Moving on into the forwards, we've got Oswin Apollos, Tebang Muremi, Evidence Mahopa, all of Orlando Pirates, Love Foster of Burnley, Bonguhle Hlongwane of Minnesota, Relebogile Mufukeng, Temba Mzwane Mshishi also making a return, and another player making his way back into this Bafana Bafana team. We saw him, of course, out at the Africa Cup of Nations in 2023. He's a player that also announced himself globally during the AFL in 2023. That is a Tapelo Maseko. Those are the 23 players. Coach, very interesting 23. And I think we're going to give it a breakdown, Mazola, in terms of what this 23 is looking like, and just starting from those goalkeepers, because we see, of course, the omission of a Sipho Chain, who was part of your preliminary squad, and he's now being replaced by a Ronaldo Lina from Skukune. Speak to us about that.
Yes, I think Lina is always on the list of the preliminary list, and I think that was a good occasion now to get him with us. He was already with us a few months ago, but I want to see him again, and yeah, we will see what that gives.
And when you say see him again, Coach, are you looking at perhaps having some sort of rotation with your goalkeepers between these two encounters?
No, not at all, but we have to be careful. An injury is very quick there, and imagine that something happens with the goalkeepers, so we need something, a background, and I think maybe Lina can be.
Should Sipho be worried, Coach?
Sorry?
Should Sipho be worried if he sees the squad and he's not there?
Everybody has to be worried when they don't when they don't perform. So, and I don't say that Sipho is not performing, but everybody has to be worried that it's not a charity. It's something that is very serious. And again, Lina, I want to see him. I want to see him with us. I want to see him all the camp, because it's not only on the pitch but also outside the pitch, and we will see.
And Coach, just looking at those goalkeepers, of course now it's a Sipho Chain that's dropped, but many saying perhaps it could have been a Ricardo Goss, but was it that performance that everyone was watching against Orlando Pirates, where Goss was just making save after save after save to keep Siwelele in that game? Let's speak about a Ricardo Goss and what you feel he brings to this Bafana Bafana team, because you also speak about just that influence they have outside of the field of play and what they add to the camp.
If you talk about Bafana DNA, that's an example of it. Yeah, the good mentality is a guy who's always working on training. If you need him, he's there. He's a good guy for the rest of the team, and that is very important. So again, the performance a few weeks ago for him was fantastic. I saw the game also. So that means again the qualities of Ricardo. So and he's with us already from the beginning, I think. So and I don't drop him, certainly not, because I have confidence in him, and I know if something happened with Ronwan, that we always can count on him.
Coach, do you sometimes feel we tend to forget how good Ricardo Goss is? Because we don't get to see a lot of his games, perhaps on TV, Siwelele playing, but when you see him against Pirates, what he done, then it's a reminder of why he's consistently in the team.
One of the things I learned in South Africa is that a South African is always judging with his heart.
Emotion.
And yeah, and when you judge with your heart, you change every time. From then today is good, tomorrow is bad. Oh, today is good, tomorrow is bad. And that is not good. And always the reactions after AFCON were reactions from the heart. They were not reactions from the brain. People don't saw what went wrong, and suddenly they start with yeah, this was not good, and why this one was there, and this one had to be there. It doesn't work like this. And we didn't do that in the past 4 years, and I will not do that for the rest of the time I will be here in Africa, in South Africa. So just look what happens. Let's work your brain. And sometimes for me it's also difficult not to let work my heart. But I can't do that. Because then otherwise I should change every game. So that I just want to ask the South Africans, let's speak sometimes more your brain than your heart.
Very, very interesting there on the goalkeepers. Let's then move into the defenders, coach. And I think this is where you've always liked to keep a lot of consistency in terms of what that spine is looking like. But we see the inclusion of a player that has 1,300 minutes for his team, a player that is very efficient in terms of positioning, reading the game. Let's speak about Ime Okon making it into your final 23.
You know, Ime Okon was already with us I think in September already, but then he was injured. He couldn't come, and then we took him